shift from the fear of COVID to living with it, and that the normal that we know in the past may not be there anymore.
Spreading misinformation and disinformation can have just an equivalent impact as the virus itself.
When you take a vaccine, you're not doing it only for yourself, but for your loved ones, for the people closest to you, and for the rest of the country.
The diseases that these vaccines protect us against are more dangerous than the vaccine.
The treatment does not get rid of the virus, but it prevents the virus from weakening your immune system.
We know how to fight HIV. It's about political will. It's about, making choices.
I think LGBTQ plus is not just a community, it's a pocket of communities.
Love cannot be limited to male and female.
Kindness is really the currency of our time.
It's never a sign of a weakness of one's character. If we want to seek help, if we want to talk to someone.
Number 1, you can get cured. Number 2, it's not your fault that you have this disease.
Don't fall for these fad diets because it might be detrimental in the long run.
And it's because they're trying to deny that they have the disease. But once you accept it, and you learn to live with it. It's really very easy to be living with diabetes.
Love your eyes and your eyes will love you back.
Shift from the fear of COVID to living with it, and that the normal that we know in the past may not be there anymore.
Spreading misinformation and disinformation can have just an equivalent impact as the virus itself.
When you take a vaccine, you're not doing it only for yourself, but for your loved ones, for the people closest to you, and for the rest of the country.
The diseases that these vaccines protect us against are more dangerous than the vaccine.
The treatment does not get rid of the virus, but it prevents the virus from weakening your immune system.
We know how to fight HIV. It's about political will. It's about, making choices.
I think LGBTQ plus is not just a community, it's a pocket of communities.
Love cannot be limited to male and female.
Kindness is really the currency of our time.
It's never a sign of a weakness of one's character. If we want to seek help, if we want to talk to someone.
Number 1, you can get cured. Number 2, it's not your fault that you have this disease.
Don't fall for these fad diets because it might be detrimental in the long run.
And it's because they're trying to deny that they have the disease. But once you accept it, and you learn to live with it, it's really very easy to be living with diabetes.
Love your eyes and your eyes will love you back.
Shift from the fear of COVID to living with it, and that the normal that we know in the past may not be there anymore.
Spreading misinformation and disinformation can have just an equivalent impact as the virus itself.
When you take a vaccine, you're not doing it only for yourself, but for your loved ones, for the people closest to you, and for the rest of the country.
The diseases that these vaccines protect us against are more dangerous than the vaccine.
the treatment does not get rid of the virus, but it prevents the virus from weakening your immune system.
We know how to fight HIV. It's about political will. It's about, making choices.
I think LGBTQ plus is not just a community, it's a pocket of communities.
Love cannot be limited to male and female.
Kindness is really the currency of our time.
It's never a sign of a weakness of one's character. If we want to seek help, if we want to talk to someone.
Number 1, you can get cured. Number 2, it's not your fault that you have this disease.
Don't fall for these fad diets because it might be detrimental in the long run.
And it's because they're trying to deny that they have the disease. But once you accept it and you learn to live with it, it's really very easy to be living with diabetes.
Love your eyes, and your eyes will love you back.
Hello.
Hello. Hello everyone. Hi
Hello po
Bianchi.
sa lahat.
Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome back. Magandang
Yes.
tanghali po. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Please share this live. So, now it's World Immunization Week. Napaka-exciting. Hello everyone. I'm Bianchi Mendoza, Managing Editor, Fellow Doctor. Joining me is Justin Marpuri, the head of our brand and also our all-around, creatives and marketing expert. Ang dami niyang roles. And host. Ang dami po niyang talent. So, we're very excited for the discussion today. Napaka-timely po dahil sakto World Immunization Week. So, before we bring in our doctors, we would like to introduce a new co-host. Ayan, papunta na tayo sa exciting part, guys. Meron tayong new co-host, Miss Lorraine Bunag, our resident nurse and writer.
Hi Rain, welcome.
Hello. Hello, Wisby. Hello, Justin. So I am Rain. I'm one of the writers at Hello Doctor, and I'm happy to be included in this discussion since exciting yung topic about World Immunization Week. So
thanks, Rain.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Rain. Yes.
So tayo, joining us live from Cavite, Bulacan, and Mandaluyong. O, diba?
Yes.
Iba-ibang location. And now, we will bring in, and ang pinakakabog, Geneva, Switzerland, ang location po ng ating doctors today. Iba. So, let's bring in Dr. Via Roderos.
Hello, good morning po from Switzerland. As you can see, hindi pa po nagsa-sunrise and Doc Dex is in the other room.
Hello from Switzerland. Iba talaga.
Nandito po ako sa aking balcony. Para po matingnan din po natin yung sunrise sa ating mga viewers.
Parang nakarating na rin tayo sa Geneva, Doc.
Yes.
Kamusta malamig po dyan now? Mukhang malamig na naman.
Ginaw! Ang ginaw, ang sarap.
Ang fresh nga po ng skin nyo. Doc, can you tell us a bit more about Switzerland? Ano pong advocacy that you're what brings you to Switzerland? I think it's work, no?
For me, I think that would be because I was invited to go here by the World Intellectual Property Organization and the UN and the International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers and Associations to talk about intellectual property. So since Alaga Health works on digital tools and the digital platform, we were encouraged to be here to help protect our IP and encourage more to protect their IP. So we're also supported by the Philippine Mission. So shout out to the Philippine Mission as well as to the organizations are supporting us in this endeavor. Pressure. The first Filipino startup to be here. At the same time, we're also very excited kasi kailangan itaas ang bandera ng Pilipinas dito. So, pressure, but very, very happy, very, very happy. But that's not gonna stop us from having a wonderful Kumusta Doc session live and alive.
Thank you so much.
Here.
Thank you so much for your energy. Alam ko po maagang-maaga dyan. Talagang Dr. Pure Energy kayo kahit anong time of day. Thank you so much.
Kahit malamig pa.
Opo.
Iba
Thank you
talaga
so
si
much.
Doc Dex.
Ibang energy. So, for for our topic today, it's for World Immunization Week, right? So ang theme po, as you all know, is long life for all. So I wanted to read more about World Immunization Week para lang po may background lahat ng viewers. So World Immunization Week, sineselebrate po natin ito sa last week ng April. So ang goal po nito ay to highlight the collective action needed. So bale, tulong-tulong po tayo to promote the use of vaccines to protect people of all ages against disease. So hindi lang po siya para sa bata or matanda, of all ages po may kailangan tayong vaccine. So that's what we'll be discussing today. So we can jump right in for our first question. What are vaccines at paano po sila nagwo-work? So maybe Doc Dex G or Doc V can take it away.
Go ahead, Doc V. Yung mga magandang
ahead,
technical
Doc V.
explanations. Technical terms.
Okay po, go.
Siyempre, para ma-preserve natin yung energy ni Doc Dex, no? But just a quick segue, no? I don't know if you guys can hear the birds dun sa background, but although mas marinig nyo ata yung mga cars, pero this is one of the things that we wanted to be able to at least share, no, sana. A good working environment, and of course, how to be able to care for our health, and that's why we're still here, no? So, vaccination. Ano nga ba ang vaccination? So without being too technical about it, ang bakuna po or ang vaccination is our way, no, to protect ourselves from getting sick. No, dun sa mga viruses, dun sa mga infectious agents that can usually be protected by doing or by administering vaccines. So what it does, no, parang nangyayari po dyan, di ba po, pag may paligsahan, may quiz bee, may contest tayong sasalihan, or meron tayong pinapaabot na something that we have to conquer, kalimitan natin ginagawa ay nagtitrain po tayo. No? That's what vaccine does. No? It trains our immune system, no, to get rid of the agents, no, that are causing diseases. No? So, by the time na kunyari magkaroon tayo or may pumasok na virus na talaga doon sa ating katawan or any agent that can cause disease, no, alam na ng katawan natin kung paano siya labanan. No? And it's our way to also ensure, no, na maprotektahan, no, hindi lamang yung ating katawan, kundi yung mga tao sa paligid natin. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of herd immunity, no? When we were talking about vaccination. So actually, when we get vaccinated, no, we actually help others also, or we also actually contribute to protecting others. Kasi pag mas marami na tayong mga taong na vaccine, there will be a time na kahit na mahawaan ng isang tao, ang taong bakunado, no, hindi niya na ito mapapasa sa tao, sa isa pang tao na that might not be protected or hindi pa nababakunahan. And that's why kailangan natin ng maraming tao na mabavaccinate. No? Usually sa COVID, no, when you want to reach herd immunity, it's 70 to 80%. No? And that's a number that we would hopefully want to achieve. No? And by the way, dito actually sa Switzerland, they don't wear masks anymore. No? Hindi na sila nagmamasks. So sana, yes, that's because of vaccination. No? And marami silang na-vaccinate na mga citizens dito. So sana tayo sa Pilipinas, no, makasunod na rin, no, kasi hindi na natin masisilayan ang magagandang mukha ni Ma'am Rain tsaka ni Miss Bianchi, no? And of course ni Sir Justin and ni Doc Dex kung palagi tayong nakamask, diba? So yun po yung role talaga ng vaccines sa atin, no? And I think Doc Dex, you can share.
Yeah, siguro para mas para hindi na lang siguro masyadong matoxic yung mga tao kung paano nga ba umaandar yung mga bakuna. Naranasan niyo na bang ma-heartbroken? Tapos parang paulit-ulit na lang, tapos parang eventually namanhid ka na, parang sige na, wala na, sanay na ako diyan. Parang ganun kasi yung epekto ng ng bakuna sa katawan. Not we're saying na okay na heartbroken, no, pero parang nasanay yung katawan and parang nakagawa na siya ng ways to adapt. Na pag alam niya mga heartbroken siya or na-heartbroken siya, alam niya na tatawag ko si friend A, si friend B, si friend C, lalabas tayo, kakain tayo, babagyo tayo, etc. So parang ganun din yung katawan. Kumbaga, na lang siya, it taught itself how to cope. It learned to love itself. Ganun yung vibe, di ba? It learned to love itself better. And napaka-importante yung pag-usapan talaga natin itong vaccination kasi ang laki ng nakita nating shifts sa behavior ng mga Pilipino pagdating sa vaccination because this is based on research on vaccination. No? The Vaccine Confidence Project example looked at yung willingness ng mga Pilipino or yung perception nila about vaccination in the year 1990. Parang taon ko ata pinanganak yun. So, pinanganak so that time they asked, ano ba yung perception ng mga Pilipino sa vaccination? Are you good? Are they important? Are you willing? Nasa 90%. 90%. No? 90%. Flash forward 25 years later. So yes, more than 25 po ito. So 25 years later, 2015, that number, because of all of our campaigns, we were able to bump it up to 93%. 93%. So 25 years to have that 3% increase. And then, subalit, ngunit datapat, boom, the Fire Nation attack, biglang boom, 2018, 40% na lang ang okay, ang happy at willing na mabakunahan dahil may mga nangyari in the past that people started fearing vaccines in general. Kaya po at around the same time, nakita nyo po, nag-resurgence ang ating polio, nagbalik po kami sa pagpapatak ng mga bata, nag-resurgence ang measles, nag-resurgence ang mga diseases na dati po ay inakala namin na hindi na namin makikita sa ospital. Kaya dati sa amin, ay naku, makakakita pa kaya kami ng measles dito sa ospital. Whoop! Lahat po ngayon, buong ward, ganun yung nangyari at that in time. So, very important really how we inform the public kung ano nga ba ang vaccines at bakit sila mahalaga.
Important talaga yung awareness. So for next question, Justin, you have the next question, right?
Yes, oo.
Para mas maging aware po yung viewers
sabihin
natin.
na ang taas ng energy ni Doc Dex at 6 a.m. in Switzerland.
Iba talaga.
Sana all. Sana all. So, Doc Dex, Doc B, ang question ko lang, so, ano nga ba yung vaccines na required for adults? Kasi syempre, di ba, parang tayo familiar tayo sa mga vaccines sa mga bata. Pero para sa ating mga adults, ano nga ba yung mga required na iba?
Gusto ko yung vibe kasi alam natin na talagang for kids, talagang go-to na kailangan meron ng vaccinations. So for adults, marami actually tayo mga recommended na vaccines, particularly in order to ensure that we don't get sick. So part of that, of course, yung ating annual, so taon, annual flu vaccine. Yeah. And then it's actually also recommended for us to get boosters. Boosters kasi nakakuha na tayo ng vaccinations in the past. That would be for your Tdap, that's your tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, as well as your measles, mumps, rubella. So mga boosters lang siya in general, plus your mga boosters also for polio and the like. Pero depende din kasi sa area o kung endemic yung area, may mga additional pa silang pwedeng ibigay. Pero to add to that list, kasama din kasi doon yung sa ating pang-herpes zoster, for our women, HPV. Pero ibig sabihin, pwede din ng mga men. They can also actually get it. They don't want to be a carrier, amongst others. Plus, ito, especially po, napakahalaga na ito, tapos ito yung una ko, especially to our senior citizens. No, apart from the flu vaccine, please also get your pneumococcal vaccine, your pneumonia vaccine. Little tidbit po, a lot of the times, especially for our elderly, ang eventually kinamamatay nila would be pneumonia. Even if they have other diseases, as in they end up passing away because of complications brought about by pneumonia when their immune system dropped. Nung bumagsak yung katawan nila, ang unang mga nagsilabasan, yan, pneumonia, and so many other diseases na pwede dapat ma-prevent natin with vaccines.
Oh. So to that, in response to that, Doc, since ang topic po ng ating live ay ang topic ng Immunization Week, ang theme ay long life, di ba? Nakakahaba nga po ba ng buhay ang vaccines? Yun po yung
Yes,
tanong.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Super. Kasi not just pangpahaba ng life, pero pampaganda ng quality ng life.
Pampaganda.
Diba kasi alam po natin sa Pilipinas ngayon, naging sikat po yung ating mga issues ng majoha, etc. Bakit doon po si Apollinario Mabini lagi nakaupo? Diba? Kasi po meron po siyang polio. Kasi po wala pa po, hindi po siya nakakuha na polio vaccine at that time dahil hindi po talaga widespread or at least even fully developed yung version na ginagamit ngayon, polio vaccine. So, in terms of not just life, but also quality of life, your capacity to move, etc. Kaya yung mga key vaccinations natin, bata pa lang binibigay na to avoid us from getting tetanus, to avoid us from getting measles, mumps, that can actually lead to infertility for some, amongst others. And then kagaya na nabanggit ko, si Lola, na dahil mayroon silang pneumonia vaccine, hindi sila kasing fragile or kasing prone to getting severe pneumonia when their immune system goes down. But of course, kailangan pa rin mag-ingat. Plus, yung yearly nating influenza vaccine, your annual flu vaccine natin, and it looks like, I'm not saying that it is, but it looks like the way things are going, we might continue to need boosters for COVID-19, at least within the medium term, because it looks like it's going to stay with us for quite a while. And hopefully, maayos natin siya for all of us to get out nang wala ng masks. Kasi kakaiba yung feeling. Sobrang kakaiba ng feeling. Pagdating namin dito tapos di kami pinapag-mask, parang padam namin, meron kaming krimen na ginagawa kasi hindi kami nakamask.
Rebelde.
Mali. Sanay na akong may suot sa mask tapos parang ang laking sa bibig. So, hopefully through vaccines, we'll be able to experience this also. No need for masks anymore.
We'll get there, yes. Tiwala lang.
Weird nga pag nakakapanood sa TV ng may mask.
Nang
walang mask. Diba?
Nang walang mask.
Oo. Go ahead.
Diba? Automatic na yan paglabas eh. So,
Yes.
we have an FB question mga doc. Rain can ask it. Go ahead, Rain.
Doc Dex and Doc Via, may question ako. Nabanggit niyo po kanina that yung HPV vaccine ay pwede rin sa mga lalaki. But sa ngayon, ang karamihan, alam nila parang pangbabae lang siya since ang pinaprevent niya talaga primarily is yung cervical cancer. So if pwede po siya sa mga kalalakihan, at what age po nila ibibigay yun? Isasabay po ba siya dun sa mga girls? Kasi yung mga girls, di ba, parang bata pa lang. Actually, tinatap na ng DOH yung mga schools para i-vaccinate yung mga students na babae. Sasabay po ba yung mga boys sa HPV vaccine? Sa ganong age?
Okay. So I'll give you the reason why pwede din naman. So apart from preventing also the spread, men cannot develop cervical cancer. Pero yung HPV vaccine may prevent also other conditions like genital warts or penile cancer or cancer that can be spread or through the HPV, through HPV, especially when they engage in sexual intercourse. So, for example, we have some HPV vaccines that are already approved for males between the ages of, I think, 6 to almost 30, I think 26, 25, 26. That's the age range. Na approved na scientifically, they're okay to receive the vaccine at that point in time. I'm not sure if meron na. I have to check if meron na for those who are a bit older, right? So, ang ages talaga is from 6 to 25, 26.
Okay.
So
it's important. Doc V, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll probably add to that. No? Hopefully you can hear me. So, usually 9 to 26 yung sinabi ni Doc Dex, but it's really effective at ages 11. No? So, so if you wanna start, getting your vaccine for HPV, pwede na pong mag-start pag 11 years old. I got mine, I think, when I was in high school, I was 16. No? And then, there will be 3 doses. Merong merong schedule na sinusunod. Tatlo po yung magiging turok ko for the usual one, no? The one that I had was 3 doses. Pero I think meron na ngayon na isa na lang, no? And it's important for us to be able to not only prevent certain cancers, but it also prevent genitourinary, yung mga yung mga sakit na nakikita natin doon sa kung saan tayo umiihi, no? It can prevent warts, sabi nga ni Doc Dex, no? And for women talaga, I think the campaign has been going on, no, and it has been strong in terms of getting your HPV, no, HPV vaccine, because it can really help, prevent. And then one of the things that we wanted to be able to do is before pa tayo magkasakit, no, vaccines will actually help you prevent it, no, kasi pag meron na tayo pong sakit, vaccines are not treatment. They're meant for prevention. So, I think one of the things na dapat paalalahanan natin, no, na sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, no, na hindi dahil nag-vaccine ka, no, hindi ka na or hindi mo na mararanasan or hindi ka na madadapuan ng sakit. It can still come to you. Parang how do I give an analogy to this, no? Kunyari, when you put a mosquito repellent, no, yung kunyari lotion, hindi po kami nagpo-promote, no? Ang mosquito repellent or an insect repellent, no, hindi naman ibig sabihin na hindi ka na pwedeng dapuan ng lamok, no? It can still go to you. What it prevents is it latching on or it being able to be close enough or be being able to give you the virus that it carries, no, the disease that it carries. Same din po with vaccination. So, for example, may mga nagtatanong po sa COVID vaccine, nag-vaccine naman ako, bakit pa ako nagka-COVID, no? What it prevents actually, no, kung hindi ka nabakunahan, pwede kasi na naging malala yung COVID mo, no? Pwede mo kamatay actually yun, no? And because of the vaccine, kasi na-train ka na to be able to fight off the bacteria, fight off the virus, the agent, no? Yung response ng katawan mo, yung symptoms na nararamdaman mo ay response ng katawan for you or with you fighting the disease, no, the agent itself, no. Dahil nagkakalag na tayo, what it means is that we are currently fighting off an infection, no. And if we don't have vaccine, if hindi tayo nabakunahan, no, pwedeng mas naging malala, no, yung sintomas natin kasi no, hindi na prevent ng katawan natin yung pagdami ng virus, kasi yung viral load actually, yung pagkadami ng virus sa katawan natin will actually have an impact doon kung paano tayo magre-recover, paano tayo gagaling sa sakit. So yun po yung pinaka-importanting part when we want to learn about vaccine. So hindi po ibig sabihin na pag nagka-COVID vaccine ako, hindi na ako pwedeng magka-COVID. Pwede pa rin po, but what it prevents is you not being able to recover because of COVID, no? And that is why most of our patients here have been blessed, no, to have recovered because of the vaccines. And some in other parts of the world, no, they were blessed enough to have no more to have removed masks, no, from their protocol. Sana tayo sa Pilipinas, no. So, yun po, no? Special shout out to Miss Kai, who is watching us from Makati. We miss you.
From Makati. Hello.
Yeah.
She'll join us again next week. Fresh from Makati. So, we have a question from FB, right, Justin, from Deo Fe Estos. Please go ahead. Ask my question.
Yes.
I like naman siya sa na-mention ni Doc about how vaccines, we can still get sick despite the vaccine.
Yes. So, a question ni Miss Diofe Estos. So, my brother, 45 years old and a polio victim, he was immunized though. Pero bakit nadapuan pa rin siya? We noticed yung paglakad niya na iba when he was in grade 5. Nung nagka-measles siya, lalong lumala. Ano po kayang nangyari? Complete naman immunization niya according to our mom. So, that's our question po from Miss Estos. Go ahead, Docs.
So this one, my brother, 45 years old and polio victim. Nadapuan din pa din daw siya. So I'd like to ask, kailan po siya nadapuan ng polio per se? At the age of 45
Kailan siya
already?
napatakan?
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's younger Probably
Ah.
siguro when he had the vaccine, he already had the polio. We have to look at kasi the time when he received the vaccine and the time na nabigyan siya, nagkaroon siya ng sintomas, no? Kasi yung sabi nga natin, Doc Dex, no? Hindi po, for polio kasi, no? Once you have the polio, actually, when you were not protected, sorry, I see yung breath ko. Hindi ko alam kung nakikita nyo, no? Parang umuusok
Pero
yung ano ko.
kalamig, Doc.
K-drama.
Kaya, K-drama.
Oo nga parang baka maghanap ako dito ng Captain Ring. But anyway, yeah, so for polio kasi, no, Doc Dex, ang hirap kasing wala kasing lunas, walang treatment yung polio. So when you are diagnosed or nagkaroon ka ng polio, medyo mahirap na po yung gamutin. No, that's what vaccines prevent. No, for you to get polio. No, ang polio vaccine po ay hindi gamot for polio. It's actually given, no, for you not to get the polio. No, so he was 9 months when he received the polio vaccine. Grade 5 siya nadapuan. Okay, sige. Doc Dex, maybe you can share your insights.
Yes, I just have to confirm, 45 years old na po yung patient. Tama? 45 years old?
Yes, Doc, yes.
Yes, so of course, we have to look into the development and enhancement of the drug in itself. Kasi for example, the polio vaccine that we have right now, was actually, the first version was initially launched sa US mga mid 50s, mga mid 50s. And in terms of the rollout in the Philippines, it came up a bit later pa. Although that would mean na medyo maaga, medyo na tamaan pa yung patient. Pero kasi yung ating national national immunization drives that includes the polio primarily just started in 1992 as part of our expanded program for immunization. So maybe, I'm not quite sure, but probably the way that it was given in the past, as well as the drug in itself, might not have been fully maximized. But because in the first place po, yung vaccines, they are not 100% guarantee. Para pong sa COVID, for example, sa COVID vaccine, it doesn't mean that you have a COVID vaccine na 100% hindi na po kayo magkaka-COVID. There is just a reduced likelihood that you will be getting it. And we're actually counting on the herd immunity to further increase that, no? So, it's very unfortunate po that your, I believe, sibling ended up, brother, yeah, your brother was able to contract polio, but I hope and firmly pray that it was not due to the vaccine. Kasi again, its primary job is to just decrease the likelihood of getting it, but not to treat it or to block it off completely.
Yeah, so thanks, Doc. So for the, I think you mentioned herd immunity, Doc. Earlier in the pandemic kasi that was the goal, diba, herd immunity. Now that we've had the round of, the first vaccination, first booster, I wanted to talk a bit more about herd immunity. Where are we right now? Para lang po sa viewers natin na nagtataka na. Na-achieve na po ba natin? Or how far pa po before we achieve that dito sa Pilipinas?
Okay, so I don't have the direct data with me right now. Pero before we left for Switzerland, if I remember correctly, ang fully vaccinated na sa Pilipinas, I think 2/3. Roughly 2/3
yes,
or almost 2/3.
No?
Yeah, yung fully vaccinated. And then I believe about a tenth already have a booster. So in terms of being able to hit the herd immunity, kasi ang herd immunity natin would be playing between the ranges of 60 to 80. 60 to 80, depende sa country context, but for us, it's 70 in order to hit that. So I think we're practically almost there. So malapit na ata natin
fully vaccinated, Doc Dex.
There you go. That's the latest number, I think.
61%?
Oh yeah, so roughly tama, mga roughly 2/3. So we're now really closer to the time na hindi natin kailangan siguro mag-mask, hopefully. But we're very, very hopeful na continued yung ating vaccination drive. Actually, nagre-reflect yan sa policies when it comes to travel. Because, for example, there are countries that would require to be vaccinated, and yung validity ng vaccination mo would be, depending on the country, 6 months or 9 months. In our case, ang validity is like 9 months. So really, we're getting there. Dapat tuloy-tuloy lang. Let's not ease our guard. Pero tuloy-tuloy lang yung campaign to ensure that makontrol na natin yung virus.
Laban lang. Okay, thanks, Doc. Next question, Justin, you have one for Doc V and Doc Dex?
Oh, wait lang. Sorry.
No worries. Maybe I can ask mine first. Yung kanina kasi naisip ko yung cervical cancer, di ba they mentioned yung cervical cancer, yun lang isa sa mga types of cancer that can be prevented by a vaccine, if it's correct, Doc. Meron pa po bang iba na types of cancer or types of serious condition na pwede ma-prevent ng vaccine?
Quite a lot, no? Sige, Doc, yeah.
Think of, yeah, sige go. Yan, I think you mentioned din na Doc Dex. Mamaya siguro Doc Dex can add to it, no? But one of the things that we can actually look at, no, if ever we want to see vaccine preventable cancers would be yung Hep B vaccines natin, because yung Hep B virus can actually cause hepatocellular cancer, liver cancer, no? Kaya dun sa atin, no, sa mga newborn natin, sa mga nanay na nanganganak, pati sa mga bagong silang, yung mga sanggol na isinilang lang, no? We give them Hep B vaccine, no? Agad-agad. Because we want to be able to prevent Hep B or hepatitis B, no? Kasi isa yung malaking risk factor for them to develop liver cancer or hepatocellular carcinoma later on in their lives. No? So, isa yun, no? Hep B vaccine, tsaka HPV. Doc Dex, baka may add ka pa?
I'm all good. I think you're able to hit all of the major ones. Kasi it's also an affirmation na vaccines actually help you live longer, literally, by preventing or helping prevent other diseases. Again, these are not 100%, but they greatly reduce the likelihood that you will contract the disease.
Yeah, and if they want to know more about vaccination, bakuna, kailan ba, ano ba dapat na bakuna yung meron ako ngayon, no? They can go to hellodoctor.com.ph. Nandito po yung link, description, yeah. So, na-review po yan ng ating mga experts. And what we want to do is to be able to share this, no? So, kunyari, may gusto po kayong i-share na information about vaccine, pwede niyo pong i-share yung mga articles ng hellodoctor.com.ph or ng Hello Doctor na about vaccines. No? Actually, gusto ko lang talagang magsalita kasi I can see my breath. Ngayon ko lang kasi ma-experience.
Yeah. Parang nakikita nga namin, Doc.
Ayan, Doc Dex and ayan. Yung smoke na May additional question po ako regarding hepatitis B vaccine. Itatanong ko lang po if need ba ng booster shot for that? Kasi meron po actually kami sa family namin. So, di ba yung pang baby na Hepa B? Natapos na siya. But I remember, talagang every 5 years, up until mag-high school ako, meron kaming Hepa B booster shot. So, I was wondering if kailangan ko na ba siyang ituloy uli or okay lang na hindi na or may iba pa bang vaccine na pwedeng i-booster for my health? Kasi I really remember may card siya and then nakalagay doon every 5 years nagva-vaccinate kami for Hepa B. So tama lang po ba yung ginawa or hindi ko alam bakit siya ginawa kasi sa parents ko lang siya. So dinala kami doon sa clinic, nagpa-booster kami ng Hepa B. Alam ko lahat kami. Up until high school, I think, mga 15, 16 po kami tumigil.
Yeah. So you actually need to complete yung course ng Hep B boosters. Pero even after you completed them, particularly if you are considered to be a person na mataas yung risk ng infection, especially kapag ikaw ay healthcare professional, you are highly encouraged to have a booster every 5 years. So kung ikaw naman hindi high risk, you have to just complete yung recommended boosters natin, no, from the time that you started until around the age of almost 60 or 59. It's actually very encouraged for you to have that kasi kagaya na nabanggit ito ko via the preventive factor siya. It can prevent the onset of specific cancers that can actually decrease your lifespan. So, tuloy lang yung booster depending on your context. So, maybe Doc Via can add a little bit more.
I think Doc Dex, no, you're able to explain that also as well. Usually, nagpapa-Hep B vaccine, nagpapa-Hep B boosters yung mga those who are working sa mga conditions that have high risk of contracting Hep B, no? Gusto po natin kasi ma-prevent. Minsan kasi pag kunyari may needle prick injuries yung mga nurses natin or yung mga staff, no, mga personnel na nagtatrabaho sa ospital, no? They're very much at risk of having the hepatitis B infection. So, yung mga high risk po, usually we encourage them to have their boosters, no? And one of the things that we want to be able to do, no, I think Doc Dex, you were able to explain it, no? Yung routine talaga in adults, no, would be usually every 5 years, no? So, if ever we have the capability or the capacity, no, to get it,
5
it's
years
highly
pala talaga.
I think medyo naliwanagan ako dun sa sinabi ni Doc Dex. Kasi if I remember, parang nung bata nga po ako, toddler pa siguro ako, parang may case ako ng jaundice. Although, nung tinest naman, wala. So siguro nga, baka kaya parang napaka-adamant nung parents ko na every 5 years. Kaso tumigil na po ako by high school. So baka siguro I'll ask din na ituloy na. Ayun po. Thank you.
If you're diagnosed talaga, they will need for you to continue receiving additional boosters and also lalo na kaya yung nabanggit ko, mga high-risk professions, you definitely would need booster for you to be better protected.
Okay po.
Sakto, Nurse Rain. Sakto, Nurse Rain.
Kailangan ng iba-leble. Tuwigil ako eh.
Yun nga, it's good to know, Doc, kasi parang it's something na kailangan malaman na throughout your life pala, mga booster, kailangan pa rin. Kasi usually, pag bata tayo, until high school, naisip natin, pero when we start working, medyo nakakalimutan. Ako, admittedly, ako yung isip ko ngayon kung anong mga booster na kailangan ko. Like, kanina, di ba, na-discuss natin yung pangbata na vaccine, and then throughout your life. Now, I want to know more, Doc, about pag over the age of 50 years old na, ano po yung mga vaccines na recommended po for, to enter your senior years in a healthy way para ma-enjoy po natin pag over 50? So, go ahead, Doc Dex G.
So, gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, one of the probably most important things that I want to emphasize is I hope that our elderly would be able to get their pneumonia vaccine.
Pneumonia, yes.
Very, very important at that age. Lalo na yung siguro kung isasama natin yung above 50, medyo marami. Pero yung number 1 ko siguro, yung mga above 65, yan. Pneumococcal vaccine, absolutely important. It would also be nice for you to have your booster immunizations for everything else. So kasama dyan yung mga pang herpes zoster, yung mga pang tetanus, your pertussis, mapapansin nyo may mga respiratory related conditions din siya. And then kasama pa din dyan, of course, yung yearly influenza vaccine. So not just above 65, pero everyone actually, from the time that you become beyond 18, annual na yung influenza shot, your annual flu shot, right? And then I also highly encourage na mag-booster for varicella, your chickenpox, your HPV, yung based on the approved age bracket lang kasi yun. So hindi siya kailangan isipin pagdating sa age ng 50 and up, no? Kasi it's one of the newer ones, it's one of the newer vaccines. Pero again, emphasize ko yung pneumonia vaccine, then also Hep A, Hep B, depending on your condition and or previous vaccination status. Then maganda din na meron kayong booster and support for meningococcemia or at least your meningococcal vaccine. And again, it'll depend on your previous immunization status para mas appropriate yung recommendation ng inyong health provider. So, hindi kasi siya blanket policy. Meron kasi tayong mga catch-up immunizations para din ma-assess kung ano yung pinakakailangan. Tsaka based na din siguro sa sa occupational hazards. Kasi yung iba talaga, one of the reasons why they don't end up pursuing health is because they have a condition na they have hepatitis, so they are unable to proceed na kasi pag needle pricks ka and then they end up pricking their client or their patient, etc. Transmissions na agad yon. So talagang may different needs of vaccination per age group and then also per profession.
Yeah, so check hellodoctor.com.ph and talk to your doctor din kung ano ang required, di ba?
Exactly.
Kasi depende po, high risk, depende, di ba? Kung ano po yung risk nyo, yung general level of health nyo, lalo na pag we reach a certain age. So, I think Rain has another question, right? Or
ayan. Ay, sisingit kasi nabanggit ni Doc Dex yung sa varicella. So, itatanong ko lang po, how true it is na yung natural immunity is better than the immunity provided by the vaccines? Kasi maraming tao talaga na parang, I'd rather have the disease than have the vaccine. So parang mas may tiwala sila dun sa natural immunity. And then sasabay ko na siya, how true it is na okay lang po ba, halimbawa nagka-chickenpox na ako, okay lang po ba na hindi na ako magpa-vaccinate for chickenpox? Ayun po.
Okay, so let's jump into it first. No? For first part, I've heard of pox parties. Yung saan yung mga magulang, ay may chickenpox si ganito.
Hawa-hawa.
Hindi pa kasi palaro mo doon. No? So, yeah, yung mga pox parties yun na. Sa States, tawag sila ng mga pox parties. While it will provide you protection, my question though is why? Kasi, I mean, it will mean a lot of inconvenience and possibly pain on the part of your child, right? While it will somehow not need to go through that process if you just go through your regular vaccinations. Because what it does, it introduces yung key components of that particular virus to the body so that it would learn how to fight it. For example, equivalent nun is hindi mo kailangang ma-hold up para alam mong kailangan na protektahan mo yung mga gamit mo kapag ikaw ay nagka-travel. Right? Hindi mo naman kailangan ma-hold up, di ba? Kailangan mo lang ma-introduce dun sa konsepto na ma-hold up ka. At ano yung mga pwede mong gawin para maprotektahan yung sarili mo para hindi ka ma-hold up. Pero hindi mo kailangan ma-hold up para matutunan na yung mga dapat mong gawin para doon. So similar, or siguro very loose similarity to that extent. That you don't necessarily need to have it completely for you to be able to know how to respond well. So that's why dito talaga yung pumapasok yung vaccines. So that the body does not need to feel the full brunt of it so that it will learn. So yun yung main purpose niya. It's not necessarily better. It's intended really to protect you. Kasi kailangan pa din naman mag-boosters after that. So, yung sinasabi na I don't need it anymore, okay, siguro for a period of time. Pero we highly recommend that you get boosters for it as well kasi it's there to protect you.
And also, di ba, Doc, kahit na po nagka-chickenpox tayo as children, pag na-reactivate po siya as an adult, pwede po siya maging shingles, di po ba, Doc?
Yes. It can even lead to infertility. It can lead to so many other conditions that can decrease, not necessarily your life, or to some extent maybe, more on the quality of life. Kaya napakahalagang i-push pa rin natin yung vaccinations. I know that napakalaki ng social media community ng anti-vaxxers. Unfortunately, this is one topic that I cannot stay very open-minded and open to discussions when it comes to the validity. Kasi vaccines work. They're helping save lives. While we do value choice, one of the things that we need to do now is to help educate others without antagonizing them. And this is one of the biggest pitfalls of people just suddenly saying that, but vaccines work and here are the facts, blah. It's not that. We have to be able to convince those who are against vaccinations to vaccinate their kids, to vaccinate themselves in a way that addresses their concerns. Bakit nga ba ayaw nila magpapakuna? What are the concerns? Is it because they feel it's not safe? Is it because they feel it's not effective? Is it because they feel like their autonomy is being taken away from them? Or do they feel it's gonna make them sick? Kasi, for example, pag bakuna ka, for about a day, possible na magkaroon ka ng lagnat. But that is the body's way of responding to the vaccine. It doesn't mean that the vaccine made you have a fever, per se, or made you sick in the first place. Kasi yung fever automatically relate nila sa isang sakit. So, we have to be able to explain to them why these things happen and how they are better off getting vaccinated than not.
Magandang point yun, Doc, no? Kasi it's hard to convince. I personally had this experience. I know someone who's against it. A friend of my grandpa. Ang hirap po i-explain, pero if we address the concern specifically, kasi ang concern niya is marami po siyang comorbidity and ang fear niya is it will worsen her existing condition. So parang siguro the next time I speak to her, I share more information from Hello Doctor to her, I'll just address that fear na parang these are safe, these have gone through testing, and experts have studied for years to develop it, diba? Ayun. So, magandang tip yun.
Even if you have other conditions, this is why tuloy-tuloy pa din yung surveillance when it comes to vaccines. Ibig sabihin, even if it's been in the market for a long time, market surveillance continues to happen even for vaccines that have existed for decades. And the reason for that is that we want to find out if there are any additional things that we don't know about how it goes. And one of the best ways that we can address that would be for everyone to take it, of course, and so that we can tweak it out and ensure that it doesn't harm others. But here's the number one thing. When you're talking about vaccines, it goes through a long clinical trial process. And the very first step, that if you fail it, ligwak ka na kaagad, is safety.
Ligwak agad. Safety.
I mean, sa process kasi na yun, effectiveness of the vaccine is not even priority number one. It's not. Contrary to popular belief, ang number one consideration of vaccine development is not whether or not it works. That's not the first concern. The first concern is it safe? Only when it is deemed to be safe will we now even consider or even care about whether or not it does the job or not. Right? So during the time that the COVID vaccines were being rapidly developed, if you notice, the prime consideration was it safe? Kaya tuloy nagkaroon ng variations in terms of its level of effectiveness based on the succeeding trials. Pero, in general, it doesn't matter kasi walang na harm sa'yo because the number one consideration first is it safe? For as long as it doesn't harm you, it doesn't hurt you, That's of paramount importance. The next step na talaga yung effectiveness, and then the next one after that is yung long-term impact sa katawan. So really, hopefully that will quell some of the concerns ng mga taong ayaw magpabakuna. More so that not being vaccinated really has an impact on not only themselves but also their family members.
Yeah, people around them. Thank you, Doc. That's very helpful for all of us who know someone anti-vaxxer. Yeah, right now we want to share some exciting news. Spotlight
Yes.
page for World Immunization Week and our promos, Doc. So in celebration of World Immunization Week, we want to give back to our readers, not just information, but prizes. So go ahead, Justin and Rain.
Yes. Siguro let's start with the ring for
Okay, go
the
ahead,
spotlight
Rain.
page. So hold on, I will share my screen. Go ahead.
Doc Z
Rain.
will join again shortly. I think she got disconnected. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Rain.
Hello, Rain.
Okay, you can go ahead, Rain.
Hello. I'm sorry, it's not loading on my end. Ayan. So yan, sa mga marami pong questions regarding immunization, so we have a spotlight page for it. So dito po sa spotlight page na to, makikita niyo yung maraming articles regarding vaccination. So kung may mga tanong kayo, may mga doubts kayo, so we have medically reviewed articles here that you can go to para masagot yung mga tanong ninyo. And besides that, we're also featuring mga screeners na pwede ninyong magamit in case meron kayong worries regarding your risk. So for example, meron kaming risk screener dito about cervical cancer. So kung nag-worry kayo, am I at risk of cervical cancer? You can head over to this screener and then pwede po nating isa-isahin kung meron ba kayo ng mga risk factors na magpapataas nung risk ninyo na magkaroon ng cervical cancer. Ang nakakatuwa po dito sa screener na to, it's medically verified ng ating doctor. So, makakatiyak kayo na tama yung mga information na nandito. And each time na sasagutin po ninyo yung mga questions dun sa screener, meron mga recommendations on how you can further improve your health para mapababa yung risk. At the same time, may mga recommendations din kung ano yung mga dapat na bawasan or mga dapat na hindi na gawin para bumaba yung risk natin ng pagkakaroon ng cervical cancer.
Yan. So, please visit our page. Paglaan niyo po sa homepage, diba rin you can see ang in-focus section for World Immunization. Ayan po ang link.
Yes, ito po yung
Sa
link.
comment.
So,
Thank you so much.
yan. Head lang po sa sa aming spotlight page na World Immunization Week 2022. So, yun po. And also, speaking of screeners and health tools, so we have an ongoing promo po for those who will use our screeners. So let me share this. So never miss your child's immunization schedule and don't miss the chance to win 500 pesos worth of GCash. So para lang manalo ng 500 pesos worth na GCash, gamitin lang po ang aming baby vaccine scheduler. Dito po sa link na ito, nakalagay din po siya sa comment section ng aming Facebook Live. And also, another promo for cervical cancer screener. So, want to know if you're at risk for cervical cancer? Take our screener and get a chance to win 500 pesos worth of GCash. So, ito po yung link ng ating screener. And then for the promo mechanics, use our baby vaccine scheduler and cervical cancer screener and get a chance to win 500 pesos worth of GCash. And then tune in to our Kumu or Facebook Live on May 4. So next week po yan, 12 noon during our Kumusta Doc live stream, where we will be drawing the winners live. So 500 worth of GCash po ulit per winner. Per screener po siya. So 5 winners po siya per screener. So 5 winners for cervical cancer screener and then 5 winners for baby vaccine scheduler. So and then after that, once na-release po yung winners, please comment on the video that you are one of the winners and then message us on Facebook via Messenger with your complete name, GCash number, 2 valid IDs, and the email address you used on the screener. So please note lang po na hindi po kung ano lang po yung email address na ginamit nyo dun sa screener, sa pagsagot dun sa screener tsaka dun sa BB Vaccine Scheduler, yun lang po yung i-honor namin. So, yun po, exciting news for next week. So, gamitin nyo na po yung screeners and BB Vaccine Scheduler dito sa aming comment section. Makakatulong po sa inyo yan. Lalo na yung BB Vaccine Scheduler kasi nandyan yung makikita nyo yung magiging next schedules ng mga vaccine ng inyong baby. Tsaka yung risk din ng inyong risk sa cervical cancer. And also, sa mga sumali sa aming World Immunization Week survey and Hello Health app survey, stay tuned din po next week via during our Kumu Live since doon din po namin i-announce ang winners for that survey. So, thank you very much. Go B.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everyone. As usual, ang bilis po ng oras. Hindi enough ang 1 hour for our discussion usually. So for next week, we will see you again. Thank you so much, Rain, for joining us for her hosting debut. And Justin Marpuri, of course, our favorite Justin. And Doc Dex, Dr. Pure Energy. So Doc V, I think, is trying to reconnect, but we're out of time. So thank you so much for today, Doc Dex G. Maybe you can close this episode with some takeaways and final words for
Sure. Siguro, reminder na lang natin kay Lolo, kay Lola, kay Kuya, kay Ate, kay Papa, kay Mama, pagdating sa bakuna, dapat now na. So, to know more, please visit Hello Doctor, and if you want some help and to get more services for your health, check out Alaga Health. So thank you very much. Kita-kita po ulit tayo next week. Same time every Wednesday, whether you're in the Philippines or anywhere around the world. Live po tayo on Kumu and on Facebook. # Kumusta Doc? Hello Doctor. Thank you everyone and see you.
Thank you.
Stay healthy. Get vax.
Get vaccinated. Bye.
Bye, everyone.